In this video, we'll be covering what to expect when Season 2 of The War Within arrives, so let's begin with the general overview of the upcoming new zone, the Undermine. As of PTR testing, we'll be able to enter the new zone either through the Ringing Deeps or Zoldazar, that each have a new subzone, but we'll circle back around to talk about that later on. Regardless of what passageway we took to get to the new zone, either through Zoldazar or the Ringing Deeps, we'll arrive at Slam Central Station. As of testing, there aren't many features or points of interest here, aside from the Flight Master right outside and a few food vendors. After spending time completing content in here, we'll eventually unlock our very own drive cart. This is going to be our go-to transportation method here, and it essentially feeds the need for speed. This new drive cart will allow us to ride around with customizable attachments where we can fiddle with some aspects. So for example, if we want to be the Drift King, we can mod out our drive carts that way, or we can optimize for pure speed, or even set up our drive carts to have top tier acceleration traded in for our car's top speed. It is worth mentioning that during testing we already had all of these perks unlocked, but it's safe to assume that when the patch goes live, we'll start with the bare minimum or the standard attachments with no upgrades at all. Now moving on from this starting area, there are various towns in the zone, but directly east is going to be a large estate called the Galagio, while north of the zone is Demolition Dome, which is this gladiatorial area, and in here we'll be able to see the world boss named the Godfather. That is so badass, oh my god. Now towards south is going to be the Heaps, which appears to be an industrial slum housing a bunch of industrial workers and goblin mech suits. Now there are other parts of the zone like the Emerald Hills Golf Course, Blackwater Marina, Hovell Hill, and the VAT Works, but now we'll talk about the central area of the zone called the Incontinental Hotel. Yes, it's a John Wick reference, I think. Inside of the hotel, we have an innkeeper, of course, and some NPCs, but one of them is going to be Smack's top skimmer, which is the renowned quartermaster for the newest renowned faction called Cartels of Undermine, which is sort of the head of all the other renowned factions. Currently, there's 4 other renowned factions, or as they call it, Cartels. They are going to be Bildgewater, Steamwheedle, Blackwater, and the Venture Co. And similar to the Severed Threads, these cartels gives us the option to choose which one we want to pool our renowned reputation into. So they will work similar to the weekly quests we can get in the City of Threads, where we can align ourselves to different ones each week, and each will have their own respective perks and features. So to choose a side, we'll want to head to KD Racketeering inside of the hotel, and from her we'll get to choose which cartel we want to side with for the week. Once we pick one, currently as of testing, we'll be given 2 weekly quests that reward us with quite a decent amount of reputation or renown towards both the cartel we sided with and the Cartels of Undermine. Now back towards the vendor, Smacks. With him, we were able to glimpse some of his wares, and at Renown 15, we'll be able to purchase the Violet Armored Growler for 8,125 Resonance Crystals, while at Renown 19, we can get the Top Skimmer Special for 11,375. Aside from the mount purchases, we'll be able to also buy item level 636 gear, which will be great for suiting up our tunes once they arrive in this new zone. Another thing that caught our eye was an item which can be unlocked at Renown 19, which is the G77C Ultra, an item that apparently upgrades our drive cart. Other than the renowned vendor in this hotel, upstairs we have Carry Bridge Blaster, which is apparently the vendor that sells our upcoming Season 2 raid gear, and we'll be able to buy those with these excessively bejeweled curio, which will drop from Chrome King Gallywix in the new raid, Liberation of Undermine. Outside of the hotel nearby is going to be the raid entrance for the Liberation of Undermine, and the second delve coming in Season 2 called Side Streets Loose. As for the other cartel quartermasters, for those interested, Boatswain Hardy is going to be the representative for Blackwater Cartel, located in Port Authority, which is on the east side of Demolition Dome and west of Blackwater Marina, so somewhere in the middle. Keep in mind, from each cartel or quartermaster, we'll be able to buy these troves, which are given at certain reputation levels, so that's going to be honored, revered, and exalted. and these give us resonance crystals and gold, so it's a good way to stack up on our resources. Other than those, we can look to purchase the Wavebreaker Mechasaur Battle Pet when we're revered with Bildgewater, and the Blackwater Shredder Deluxe MK2 when we're exalted. The next cartel up is going to be Bildgewater, represented by Rocco Razboom, found at the scrap shop which is west of the Demolition Dome. Similar to the previous cartel vendor, we'll be able to buy a trove at certain reputation levels, and at exalted we can buy the Crimson Armored Growler. Additionally, we'll be able to get the paint job for our D.R.I.V.E cart, making it so that we can color it red. The next cartel up is going to be Venture Co., which will be located at the Heaps, and their quartermaster is going to be Shreds the Scrapper. Just like the previous ones, we'll be able to buy the troves. Other than those, we have some cosmetics and the Venture Co. tabard unlocked along the way. From this vendor, we'll be able to purchase this mount called the Ochre Delivery Rocket for 11,375 crystals. And lastly, we'll be able to get the yellow paint job once we're exalted for 2,600 crystals. And as for the last cartel quartermaster, it'll be Lab Assistant Lastly, representing Steamwheedle, and they'll be found over at the VAT Works. From this vendor, we'll get more troves, the famed Noggin Fogger Elixir sold for 5,000 crystals and unlocked once we're revered, and we'll also be able to get the mount, the Mean Green Flying Machine for 11,375 crystals upon reaching exalted. Lastly, we'll unlock a tabard and a green paint job for our D.R.I.V.E cart at exalted as well. Now, before we end the video, I did mention that there are these new subzones. One of them is going to be for Zul'Dazar and one for the Ringing Deeps. During testing so far, both of these two new subzones have their own respective stuff or content to do in them. The one in the Ringing Deeps, called Gutterville, has the introductory questline to do stuff in it, while the one in Zul'Dazar, called Kaja Coast, has their own content to do on the later chapters of the Undermine story. But that's about all the general stuff we'll be covering about the Undermine. Let us know in the comments below what you're most excited about in Undermine when it goes live. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.